Hey everybody, Tom here. In this episode, I want to discuss how different experiences of action learning people may have, you may have, often unpleasant ones, that can impact the way you or people view this form of business and competence development. I will go over 5 things that can go wrong in action learning sessions and programs. Here is the first one. The fact that the group that is working in an action learning session is not really working on a complex and important problem. This form of problem solving is or should be focused, is designed for working on situations that are current, not past, that are important, significant for somebody in the team or in the organization, that are complex, have no easily identifiable solutions, and that really need to be managed, or otherwise there will be some negative consequences. If you are working on a mission or a vision statement, that's not really a good theme for an action learning meeting. But if you have a situation with a client or an internal client or a supplier, you have a problem on the production line, there are different circumstances. We're not really sure where this is coming from, what should be done, where's the core problem. Then it probably is a good theme for action learning. This is just because this form is designed in such a way that it will best work in case of, so to speak, wicked situations. Now here comes the situation number 2, or the problem number 2, that is often the cause of some negative or unpleasant experiences with action learning. And that is the fact that people are working in a group that is too large. Rarely too small, but often I hear, maybe not often, but sometimes I will hear people say, I worked in a group of 10, 12. That person that I mentioned at the beginning of this video told me she was working in a group of 16 people. That's twice as many as should be in an action learning team. And that's actually a maximum number. So 8 would be the maximum number. So we, at least in the variety of action learning that is proposed by WILE, the World Institute for Action Learning, we work in groups that are rather small, from 4 to 8 people, plus the action learning coach. Why? That's because if you have too few people, 2 or 3 people, that's usually too little energy, too few ideas or exchanges, interactions. You just need a bit more people to solve a complex problem. But if you have more than 8, you have 9 or 10 or 11, 12 people, that's far too many, because the more people you have, the less room there is for each particular person to express their mind, the more chaotic it becomes, the more different interactions there are in the group, and it just becomes ineffective. That's not even characteristic for action learning. If you want to have a discussion, and ultimately this is what action learning meetings are all about discussion, then you shouldn't have too large groups. 16 people is fine for a workshop in which maybe you will have a discussion as a part of it. But if the discussion is like the core of the meeting, don't invite more than 7 or 8 people. Optimum would be 5 or 6. And often, if there are more people, the participants will have negative experiences. The situation number 3 that causes these negative experiences is that the facilitator or the coach introduces some rules in a very stiff way. Even though often facilitators or trainers or coaches, they have this soft approach. They are very cordial and benign, and they seem to lead everything in this kind of soft way. They treat some rules in action learning as very stiff, especially if they're not well trained to do it, or they don't really know how to do it well. For example, in the WILE methodology, there is this rule that sounds a bit stiff, that says that in the discussion, when people are discussing the problem, statements may only be made in response to questions. So we only use questions and answers to questions. So when we're discussing the problem, it's just questions and answers. But the rule is that anybody can ask a question of anybody at any time, and one question may generate one response or many responses. So we can have a discussion of 10 minutes without a question, but in response to a question that has been posed. So that can be introduced in a very stiff and direct way. So imagine somebody is saying something that is not a question or an answer, and the coach or the facilitator is just saying, what question are you answering right now, right? And if that is done in this attacking, stiff manner, that person probably will withdraw, will feel attacked. But the same can be done, a similar intervention can be done in a way that will help that person follow that rule again. Because that person who is making a statement, is not really asking a question, is, I have probably best intentions, but for some reason they're expressing themselves in a way that is not really in accordance with the action learning methodology, in which we focus on questions. We focus on questions to stay on the theme, to avoid digressions, to promote analysis, to keep creative. So the coach or the facilitator may intervene in different ways. They can be a police officer that is just waiting for a person to break the rule, or they're waiting for anybody to break the rule, but in order for them to follow the rule again, sort of to help them. So in the role of the facilitator or the coach, you should be the helper and by no means a police officer. And if people are treated in this directive, stiff manner, they say, screw this, I don't like it. It doesn't allow me to express myself. But if this is done in a true way to help them, and to help them use the rule of questions to trigger analysis and creativity and engaging one another in the team, then it becomes efficient. And then people really see the benefit of using questions. All right. Here comes the situation number 4, in which people often feel unpleasant in action learning sessions, and that is the fact that they don't really know what is going on. Action learning meeting is pretty specific. It's not a training course, it's not a workshop, but it's not a regular meeting in the company that people have. It's somewhere in between. It's 2 in 1. It's talking about a business situation, a real problem, real stuff, real people talking about real stuff, coming up with real solutions, and then taking real actions. That's what action learning is all about, pretty much. But at the same time, it's a learning environment. So if people are not familiar with this and nobody explains them exactly the point of everything, what is going to happen, the format, they don't see the point of following some rules, then, and they are confused, they are disorientated, then they have an unpleasant experience, because the facilitator starts the meeting, everything goes on, they sort of start participating and they try to come up with the way to make this efficient, but they're not sure what is really going on. So if you have such experiences, please remember that this is not because action learning methodology is such, but because probably somebody failed to explain to you exactly the format of work. And finally, number 5, the 5th rider of apocalypse, is that no one really built the commitment for learning and for taking real actions. Action learning is about taking real actions and learning from them, not only discussing. So action learning projects are much more than just the meetings. In meetings we discuss, but we solve problems in between meetings, and we solve problems when we take actions, and then we learn from those actions. So you want to make sure that you're participating in something in which either you, as the participant, you can see the point of taking real actions, you understand why and for whom and everything, and you also are committed to learning. You understand that in these meetings, in this project, not only actions are important, but also learning and becoming a better leader, better professional, better problem solver, better teammate, better communicator, and so on. And if you are the coach or the facilitator or the a HR person, learning and development person, make sure that you prepare everything in such a way that this is clear for everybody and you really get the commitment for taking real actions and for learning. I hope this makes things a bit more clear. If this has brought value to you as professionals, please subscribe, please hit the like button, and let me know down in the comments what you think. I will read and I will reply. Thanks very much for being with me in this episode, and I will talk to you soon in the next one.